right, so today we're diving into the world of Ted Bundy.
One of America's most notorious serial killers.
Absolutely. And,
Yeah.
it's interesting
Hmm.
because we're really trying to get down to, like, not just what he did,
Right.
why he did it.
What? Yeah.
Like, how does somebody
Big
become
savage.
this monster?
Yeah. Was there like a single turning point, or were
Yeah.
there subtle signs all along?
And I think that's what makes Bundy so fascinating.
Yeah.
And honestly unsettling.
Right.
Because, by many accounts,
Mm-hmm.
he was charismatic.
Yeah.
He was good looking.
He would.
A law student.
A law student.
Like, not exactly.
Doesn't fit the profile.
An image that pops into your head.
Right.
When you think serial killer.
Exactly. He shattered the stereotype.
Right.
And that's what made him so dangerous, I think, was
Yeah.
his ability to blend in, to gain people's trust.
Right.
Like, he weaponized that normalcy.
Totally.
So let's go back to his beginnings. Theodore Robert Cowell, born in Vermont, raised by his grandparents in Philadelphia.
And led to believe that they were his parents.
Yes.
And his mother was his older sister.
His sister, right.
I mean, talk about a messed up
Yeah.
family dynamic.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of impact does that have on a developing mind?
Huge impact. I mean, there's speculation that his grandfather was abusive.
Oh, wow.
A detail that Bundy both denied and hinted at later in life.
Okay.
His grandmother had electroshock therapy for depression,
Wow.
which was a pretty intense treatment back then.
Yeah.
So you've got like a lot of potential trauma swirling around in that household.
Right. And this is all before we even get to, like,
Right.
the psychological blow of discovering the truth about his parentage.
Exactly.
You can imagine that just doing a number on
Yeah.
a young person's sense of identity and trust.
Absolutely. And it adds another layer to the already conflicting accounts of his childhood behavior.
Right.
I mean, some incidents like placing knives around his aunt while she slept are downright disturbing. Yeah.
Yet others describe him as well-liked, even charming.
So which one was the real Ted Bundy?
Right. Or were they both?
Yeah.
Maybe this duality, this ability to compartmentalize, was present from the very beginning.
That is a chilling thought.
It is.
Okay. So let's fast forward a little bit to his university years.
So he does, initially studies psychology, gets involved in politics.
Yeah.
Seems like he's on a good path.
Mm-hmm.
But then comes this pivotal moment, the breakup with his girlfriend, Diane Edwards.
This wasn't just any breakup, though, right?
Yeah.
It seems to have completely shattered him.
Yeah.
Some accounts even suggest that he never really recovered from this.
Right.
Why was this rejection so significant?
Well, Edwards was apparently everything Bundy wanted.
Okay.
Beautiful, wealthy, from a good family.
Mm-hmm.
Losing her might have confirmed some deep-seated insecurities.
Okay.
It's during this period that he becomes increasingly interested in violent pornography,
Right.
perhaps as a way to exert control
Okay.
and reclaim a sense of power that he felt was slipping away. A dark turn, for sure.
Absolutely.
And it's right around this time, 1974,
Mm-hmm.
that young women start vanishing in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
The official start of his reign of terror.
Yes,
But he himself hinted at earlier crimes.
he did.
So how long had this been going on?
That's the question.
And how many victims might there be
Yeah.
that we don't even know about?
It's a truly unsettling thought.
Terrence Sparks, his first known victim in Washington,
Mm-hmm.
barely survived his attack,
Yeah.
but was left with permanent brain damage.
Horrible.
Then a string of disappearances.
Yeah.
Linda Ann Healy, Donna Gale Manson, Susan Lane Rancourt,
Right.
all young women
That fit a particular profile.
who fit a particular profile.
Yeah.
So he seemed to target women who shared a physical resemblance to Edwards.
Yes. Long dark hair parted in the middle,
Okay.
often wearing penny loafers.
So was this some twisted way of seeking revenge?
Right.
Or trying to recapture what he had lost?
It's possible.
We're talking about the Pacific Northwest in the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
a time and place where hitchhiking wasn't uncommon.
Yeah.
Witnesses report seeing a charming young man,
Right.
sometimes with a cast or a sling,
Mm-hmm.
driving a Volkswagen Beetle.
Right.
Can you imagine the horror of those who realized
I know.
they might have encountered this man,
Right.
not knowing that they were face-to-face with a monster?
And Bundy was meticulous.
Right.
He often used ruses, feigning injury, impersonating authority figures to gain trust.
Yeah.
He chose secluded locations Minimized evidence.
So the fear that he instilled wasn't just because of the brutality of his crimes,
Right.
but because of this chilling realization that he could be anyone, anywhere.
Exactly.
That's what makes this case so deeply unsettling.
It really is.
He didn't fit the profile.
No.
Like a crazed killer.
Right.
There's an almost methodical intelligence to his crimes that makes them all the more terrifying.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what made him so difficult to catch.
Right.
Law enforcement was essentially chasing a phantom.
Mm-hmm.
Bundy was not only committing these horrific acts, but he was actively studying the investigations.
Oh, wow.
Learning from their mistakes.
So it's almost like he was treating it as some twisted game.
It seems that way.
Like pushing the boundaries to see how far he could go.
Yeah, how far I could take it.
And he even returned to a crime scene to retrieve evidence.
He did.
I mean, the audacity is just mind-blowing.
It really is. It speaks to his level of narcissism.
Yeah.
And a belief in his own superiority.
Right.
He wasn't just driven by a need to kill, you know?
Yeah.
There was this desire to dominate.
Okay.
To outsmart everyone around him.
So let's unpack his modus operandi a little bit more.
Okay.
He preferred blunt force trauma and strangulation.
Right.
Which are obviously quieter than gunshots.
Yes.
And leave less traceable evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Was this a conscious choice to avoid detection?
I think so.
Or something more sinister?
Probably both.
Okay.
He was certainly aware of the forensic implications, but there's also a psychological element here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Bundy talked about wanting to totally possess his victims, and these methods allowed for a more intimate, hands-on approach.
Right.
It was about power and control, even in death.
And this possession extended beyond the act of killing.
Yes.
He would revisit the bodies, dress them up, apply makeup.
Right.
It's like he was trying to create these macabre dolls.
Yes.
Frozen in time according to his own twisted desires.
Exactly. The post-mortem rituals were a crucial part of his pathology.
Okay.
They highlight this level of emotional detachment and a fascination with death that goes beyond the typical serial killer profile.
It's chilling.
It is.
And you have to remember, all of this is happening while he's seemingly living a normal life.
Right.
He was dating, working on his law degree.
Volunteering for a suicide hotline.
Volunteering for a suicide hotline.
Yeah.
How did he manage to compartmentalize these two drastically different realities?
Yeah, that's $1 million question, isn't it? It speaks to the effectiveness of his mask. You know, he carefully cultivated this image of a charming, helpful young man.
Right.
He was a chameleon blending in, manipulating perceptions.
And remember, this was before the internet.
Exactly.
Before widespread awareness of serial killers.
Right.
Like, people weren't as attuned to the warning signs.
I think you're right.
So how does Bundy finally get caught?
Well, it starts with a botched kidnapping in Utah in 1975.
Okay.
Carol Duranch thankfully manages to escape.
Wow.
And provides a detailed description of her attacker and his car.
So Duranch's escape was a huge turning point.
Yes, it was.
And around the same time, Bundy's longtime girlfriend, Elizabeth Klupfer, starts having suspicions.
Yeah.
She'd noticed strange items in his apartment and even recognized him in police sketches.
Wow.
She actually contacted authorities several times.
She did.
But they initially dismissed her concerns.
Because he didn't fit their profile.
Because Bundy didn't fit their profile of a killer. I mean, can you imagine the internal conflict she must have been going through?
I know.
Trying to reconcile the man she loved with this mounting evidence of his dark side.
Absolutely. It speaks to the complexity of these cases and the ripple effects they have on everyone involved.
Yeah.
But Klupfer's persistence, along with Duranch's testimony, eventually led to Bundy's arrest.
Okay.
They found suspicious items in his car, including a crowbar, handcuffs, and a mask.
You'd think that would be the end of it.
You would think.
But Bundy had other plans.
He did.
He escapes custody not once but twice.
I know.
First from a courthouse library in Aspen.
Right.
Then from a jail in Colorado.
Yeah.
Both times showcasing meticulous planning and a willingness to take incredible risks.
Absolutely.
So these escapes weren't just about fleeing justice.
No.
They were about control.
Right.
About proving his superiority.
Exactly.
It was as if he was taunting the authorities. Showing them that he could always outsmart them.
Yeah, he was always one step ahead.
And these escapes add another layer of fear to his story.
Absolutely.
It's not just that he's a brutal killer.
Right.
It's that he's seemingly unstoppable.
A phantom.
But Bundy's luck finally runs out in Florida.
Yeah, he ends up in Florida.
He ends up in Florida.
Seems drawn to that kind of anonymity of a new environment.
Right, a fresh start.
Yeah, and it's here that his crimes take an even darker turn.
It's like whatever fragile control he had just
Right.
completely shattered.
Yeah, it's as if the escape and the pursuit had fueled this sense of recklessness.
Okay.
In January of 1978, he brutally attacks the Chi Omega sorority house at Florida State University,
Yeah.
killing 2 young women
Wow.
and leaving 3 others severely injured.
And the level of violence is just significantly escalated.
Yes, very much so.
Almost frenzied.
Yeah, witnesses describe him as being in a rage.
Really?
Almost animalistic.
And just weeks later, he abducts and murders 12-year-old Kimberly Leach.
Yes, his youngest victim.
His youngest victim.
And a chilling reminder that no one was safe.
So this period in Florida really highlights the de-evolution of his MO.
It does the meticulous planning, the efforts to minimize evidence.
Yes.
They're gone.
It's like the thrill of the hunt, the raw power of taking a life,
Right.
became the driving force.
Yeah, it seems that way.
And yet, despite this descent into seemingly impulsive violence,
Right.
his capture is almost absurdly mundane.
It is.
He's pulled over for driving a stolen car
Yeah.
and tries to run on foot.
I know it's a far cry from the master manipulator who had outwitted authorities for years.
So was it fatigue?
Yeah.
A sense of inevitability, or maybe even a subconscious desire to finally be stopped?
We may never know for sure.
He's put on trial in Florida, represents himself for a time.
Yeah, the showmanship.
Even proposes to Carol Ann Boone in the courtroom.
I know, during the penalty phase.
Like the showmanship, the manipulation, it's all still there.
It's all there.
Even as he's facing the ultimate consequence.
And during this time on death row, he starts to confess, offering details of his crime.
But often speaking in the third person.
Right, almost distancing himself.
Almost distancing himself from the acts.
Yeah.
So is this remorse a genuine desire to unburden himself, or another calculated performance?
Well, there are those who believe he was trying to manipulate the system,
Okay.
offering information in exchange for delays or appeals.
He even tried to assist in the Green River Killer investigation.
He did.
Claiming insights into the mind of a serial killer.
But there's a sense that even these confessions were carefully curated,
Right.
designed to control the narrative even from behind bars.
So he never fully admitted to the full extent of his crimes.
No.
And always maintained a degree of detachment, a refusal to truly accept responsibility. And then in his final interview before his execution, he blames pornography for his crimes.
Right, echoing the kind of conservative agenda of the interviewer.
So a last-ditch attempt to shift the blame.
It's possible.
To find an external cause for his internal darkness.
It's certainly a controversial statement, and one that many saw as manipulative and disingenuous.
Right.
Bundy's story is ultimately a puzzle with missing pieces.
Mm-hmm.
We can analyze the facts, dissect his psychology,
Right.
but we may never fully understand what created this monster.
And it's a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous predators are the ones who blend in seamlessly.
Yeah.
Who exploit our trust and shatter our sense of security.
Right.
And perhaps the most unsettling question of all
What's that?
is, could there be another Ted Bundy out there right now,
Oh.
hiding in plain sight?
It's a sobering thought.
It is.
And one that underscores the importance of awareness, critical thinking, and trusting our instincts.
Right.
Bundy's case, with all its complexity and unanswered questions, serves as a stark warning that the face of evil is not always what we expect.
So as you delve deeper into the depths of true crime,
Right.
remember to stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay safe.
Good advice.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.